What is up, YouTube?
What is up, YouTube?
Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with tracking every minute in my life. Was it smart? Was it stupid? That is what you guys are going to figure out in this video. So this video is made for the person who is on self-improvement and just want to spend the time the most efficient way they can. So yeah, this is me editing this video, and I thought I'd just explain how this works. So on the y-axis you can see the time, and on the x-axis you can see the days. And each word or each cell that you can see in this sheet is 15 minutes. Anyways, back to the video. I learned a lot of lessons from having this Excel sheet because it's 100% honest with you. Like, you know if there's a week where you've been really productive or a week where you haven't been so productive. And that's really the only benefit that this gives you. Like, it just makes it 100% honest if you've been productive or not, which I think a lot of people like. Like, for example, an exercise you can do. You can take a guess in your head on how much time you've spent on TikTok, and then you can go look at your phone, and if you're just a little bit surprised, then just think about all the other bad habits, all the other good habits, on how much time you actually spend on them. My guess is that you probably think you're a lot more productive than you in reality are, which for me, this Excel sheet was like a big reality check. Now we're going into the first lesson that I learned from this, and that was TikTok. Before this, I was on a dopamine detox. I did all the good habits, like I woke up and I worked out before school. After that, I would go to school. After that, I would do my martial arts class, and then I would do my assignments or my homework, and then I would read for 2 hours and I would go to bed. So I woke up. So this is just a small reminder that even if you had like really good discipline at some point, it can get destroyed. And this is what TikTok did for me. Like, I was not ready for all the stimulation and the instant gratification. And I don't think anyone is, to be honest. So my advice for you is, if you're just using TikTok for pure entertainment, if you just have it just to be entertained, I think you're doing a lot of damage to your brain, and I don't think you should be having it. I think you should just delete it, because your attention spans get destroyed, your focus gets destroyed. It just makes everything worse. And even some people, they watch it before they go to bed, and they just end up watching it, and then they get less sleep. So it also destroys your sleep, which is so important. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But if you're just using it for entertainment, do yourself a favor and just delete it. Even if it's just for a week, just so you can feel if there's a difference. Even if you're using TikTok for something productive, like building a personal brand or using it for business, which was why I downloaded it, you have to be very honest with yourself. Like, do you have a clear plan on how and when you're going to monetize it? Do you know when you start going to use it for business and stuff like that? Because if you don't have that, I think you're better off doing that before downloading TikTok. Because as soon as you get TikTok, as soon as you're lazy or anything, you just start using TikTok instead of doing the hard work. You have to be very honest with yourself, because TikTok is so easy to just burn time. Like, sometimes you're just using it and then an hour just passes by, and it doesn't even feel like an hour. So it's super dangerous. Also, a piece of advice, if you're still going to pursue a personal brand, I'd recommend just, making your video, and then delete TikTok. So you make 1 video or 4 videos a day, and then you just delete TikTok straight after, because that makes sure that you don't use it throughout the day, because it's very difficult for you not to do. Make your video. Personally, I have TikTok for 15 minutes a day, and then I delete it afterwards, because there's no reason for me to have it on my phone. Now, this is the second lesson I learned, and this is a bit embarrassing, to be honest. It's sleep. Sleep is so simple and easy, yet so many people are just doing it wrong because they lack discipline. We all know we need around 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep, but yet so many of us end up with 6 or 5 hours. It's just because we miscalculate stuff. For example, if you go to bed at 11 p.m. and you wake up at 7 a.m., you would think, oh, I get 8 hours of sleep. But in reality, you're not really calculating, the time it takes for you to fall asleep, the time to wake up during the night, the time you have to go to the toilet, all the other things. What you should do instead is to put aside 10 hours for you to sleep. So for most people, it takes 1 hour to fall asleep if they don't meditate or read or something. So put 10 hours aside, and then you should end up getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, which is just gonna make everything so much easier. If you are a person who struggles with going to the gym, who struggles doing their assignments or anything, you should really just get more sleep, because it just makes the hard things so much more enjoyable. And I think most people who have gone to the gym for a while knows the workouts where they're really sleep deprived, they're just so much more harder, and you can lift less weight. So if you struggle doing the hard things, get more sleep, do yourself a favor and download an app called Sleep Cycle. It's an app that just listens to your breath. You know, when you sleep, your breath is very quiet. The app detects that, and then you know how much of the time you're trying to fall asleep, how much of the time you're actually going to sleep. So download Sleep Cycle, start using it. It's a super useful app. Alright, so now that most people are gone because this is very boring advice like sleep and TikTok, people don't want to hear about that. Now we're going to the actual advice, and we're going to the thing that you should pay attention to. Like, if there's anything you're going to take from this video, it's this. Don't start new habits. You know, it's so difficult to get rid of a bad habit. I think everyone has like that one habit that just can't get rid of because it's, you know, they're so addicted to it. So my advice to you is really don't start new habits. And the best way to not start new bad habits is to get rid of social media, because then you don't get exposed to bad habits. Like, you don't get like an edit on TikTok of like this new anime, or you don't watch like chess videos on YouTube and suddenly you start playing chess. The best way to not start new habits is get rid of like the exposure. Like, get rid of social media, get rid of friends who are trying to get you onto bad habits. And I think if you do that, I think you are very far ahead. You know, even some of these bad habits, they're like in disguise. I thought chess was like a somewhat productive thing to do. Like, throughout a lot of this time, I played chess every morning because I thought it was a smart way to make my brain wake up. But you know, in reality, chess is just a video game. Like, it's a waste of time. So this is the fourth and final lesson that I learned, and it's a very powerful and helpful one that I've been using personally the last 2 years or something. And you know, all credits due to Hamza. He's the guy who put me onto this. But it's a timetable, and you know, it sounds kind of nuts, but it's so powerful and it's so helpful. It's once you start to get rid of all these bad habits, you'll realize how much free time you have, and that's why you should make a timetable. I'll put a picture of my timetable up on screen so you guys can get some inspiration. But what this is just like best week you can have, like the dream version of yourself. What would this person do for a week? And that's what you make in this timetable. Because once you start to get rid of some of these bad habits, you just realize how much time you have. And of course, this week is not like the most fun week. It can be very fun, but it's more in the sense like which habits are going to make your future better. Like, for example, reading, going to the gym, doing MMA, doing business, like all the things that's going to make your future more enjoyable, like all these delayed gratification habits. And you know, the more time you start to like dedicate to this perfect week, like this week that's going to make your future better, the better your future is going to be. So if you like dedicate 40% of your time to this, that's also okay. Like, you're still getting a lot of benefits, but you know, the closer you get to like 90% or 100%, you know, the better, because then you're doing like a lot of good habits, and then your future is going to become very good. So this is just a very powerful tip. You should try to follow this as much as possible. The more you follow it, like, just the more enjoyable things will be, because then you're not doing all these high dopamine activities, and then your dopamine like levels, they just get down here. The hard stuff just becomes easier because it releases more dopamine. Like, it makes you more happy. Now, would I recommend tracking every single minute of your life for like the average person? And you know, the answer is no, not at all, because it's a very bad trade-off. Like, you get a very destroyed mental health for the sake of like knowing exactly how you have spent your time. And it's just a very bad trait, because once you have this you know, tracking, you just know if you've been unproductive for like 2 hours or 8 hours. Like, you like, the evidence is there. You can just look at the timetable and see, damn, I didn't spend my time very well like this week. And it just like makes you think you're a very undisciplined and a very unproductive guy, which can really hurt you. The only reason that I could like consider recommending this is if you do it for like a week, and then you get like a reality check, and then you get motivated because you realize you're not that productive. But that's like the only scenario where I can see this beneficial for you. Anyways, that was everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe.